JR Connect, episode 4. Welcome, Keegs, Sanfilippo at Sanco Build. Thanks for coming on board.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, man.
Yeah,
Good to be here.
Yeah, we've been super excited for this episode. Obviously, we've just striked up a bit of a relationship with you, and just obviously went through a campaign with the sale of Neville in Cockatoo. So we've been keen to get you on board and just hear a bit more about your journey and where you started and how you got to where you are now. So where did things start off for you? So run us through sort of the infancy of where you began and how it all sort of started.
Yeah, so I did my apprenticeship. I'm a carpenter by trade, not a joiner. I did my apprenticeship in commercial for the first 3 years doing office fit outs.
Cool.
And I guess that's where the real eye for detail came, because everything had to be perfect. And that was the way I was taught. It was like, if it's not 100% perfect, like don't just get it perfect, do it once, do it properly. Don't kind of half-ass it and then have to have someone else come in and fix it. So yeah, I did that. I did office petitions for 3 years. And then after that, I left that job because they actually got a job that was over the other side of the Westgate and I didn't want to drive all that way because you know what traffic's like.
Coming from where did you live at that point?
I lived in Narre
Yeah.
So I grew up in Narre
Yeah.
So left that job and then I went and worked for a local guy around here just doing pergolas and deckings with a mate. Did that for a year and then after that I decided I wanted to go out and be a subcontractor carpenter. So my first job was an office fit out in the city actually. I went and did that for about, I don't know, would have been about 4 months and sort of did it all by myself, put all the petitions up, did all the plastering, stopped it all up, everything. Because that's the way I learned. Like I learned to do everything during my apprenticeship in those first 3 years. Like we would do all the framework, do the plastering, stop up the plastering, do all the tiling, hang the doors, like everything start to finish. We were there from the start to the end. Yeah. Which was great. It's great to learn every aspect of the build. So yeah, when I worked for him for a year, did the subcontracting. Worked in the city for about 4 months doing an office petition. And then at that time, my partner at the time was having her house renovated in Beaconsfield, and the guy that was doing the bathroom renovation sort of needed someone like a subcontractor carpenter to come and start giving him a hand because he was getting busy. So I went and worked for him for about 6 months just doing bathroom renovations. And then...
How'd you go with that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. He was actually really good to work for. And then I learned how to do bathrooms from a guy that just did bathrooms. And they're probably one of the hardest fit-off parts of a house, I suppose, a bathroom. Like not really now, but for me now, but back then. Anyway, so yeah, we learned to do the bathroom renos with him. And then one day, one of the clients wanted a timber vanity made. And
timber vanity.
Yeah, like a solid Jarrah timber vanity.
Yeah.
And Brett, the guy I was working for at the time, he kind of knew that I dabbled in a bit of furniture work because my dad was actually he was a trade school teacher. He had his own, he had his own cabinet making company. He did solid timber kitchens back in the day. You know how that was the thing.
Yep.
And then
all the kitchens in the 90s were all timber.
Yeah, you'd be seeing them in the houses.
Solid doors. We tell everyone to renovate them now, but back when they were done.
Yeah. But you look at a house that's got a solid timber kitchen that's 30 years old, and then you look at a house that's got a laminate kitchen that's 30 years old, and the solid timber ones still have a bit of value, you know what I mean, compared to like the old laminate ones that are peeling and whatnot.
Yeah. So you're nailing the bathroom renos with...
Yeah, so I was doing the bathroom renos with Brett.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me to do a timber vanity, and I'd done a bit of timber furniture work during my apprenticeship. So Dad built me a bed when I was 18. That was like what I wanted for my 18th, a solid red gum bed. Yeah. And he built me this solid red gum bed, and I thought it was the best thing ever. And then after he did that, I started building bits and pieces. Like I built myself a bedside table out of red gum, and then I built this coffee table and then one day I was out shopping with my mate for a bed actually for himself, and we're at Harvey Norman. I remember I was like, man, if you're gonna, who knows what they were back then, $600 or whatever. I was like, I'll make you a bed like mine. And then I made him a bed, and then I made him bedside table. He kind of bought an apartment in Richmond, and I built all his furniture. So that's how I sort of came to build furniture. And Dad had a workshop at the house where I grew up. So
So he had a bit of influence around sort of how you did things and the building side of things and that type of stuff.
Yeah, he taught me how to build furniture. Probably wasn't the best pupil, to be honest. I've always been told that. Oh man, I've never listened to anyone. Like, it's just the way I am. I don't know what it. I find out the hard way. Everything. I just like to learn the hard way. Anyway, so doing the bathrooms, got asked to do a timber vanity. Did the timber vanity. All worked out really good. It was beautiful, beautiful timber vanity. And then I thought, I'll start doing these on the side of doing the subcontracting. So I put an ad out on eBay for timber vanities, right? And then a lot of people started. So this is before timber vanities were a thing on like the block. You know how they became a thing. I was kind of doing them just like a year or two before that. And then so there wasn't really many people doing them. Now there's heaps of people doing them. I had an ad out on eBay, and a lot of people would reach out to get timber vanities done. And then a lot of the time, those people actually needed someone to do a bathroom renovation. So then that's kind of where I started doing my own work, at like doing my own bathroom renovations.
Yeah, okay.
Started doing bathroom renovations, and then did a kitchen as well. Someone reached out for a vanity and they needed a kitchen done in Ascot Vale. Went and did that. And Dad kind of helped me with that first kitchen, and sort of, every time I had a vanity, helped me find my groove. It was a good way to learn, because I was kind of just doing it on my own. But if I had a question, I could just walk inside and ask someone that had 50 years experience, you know what I mean? They'd come out and just show me that 1% thing I needed to kind of get it done.
Yeah.
Did the renovations for about a year. And now if we backtrack to when I was a third year apprentice, which would have been around 20 or 21, I bought my first block of land up in Emerald. In Cockatoo, sorry.
Why did you choose Emerald?
I didn't really choose it. There was I was looking to buy a block, because I'd been saving to buy a block, because that was always instilled into us as kids. My older brother did it, and was just like, get a trade, get a house. That's kind of what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
So me and my partner at the time, my dad, we were up in Cockatoo, up in Emerald. I don't even know what we were doing up there. I think we were just going to the bakery.
Yeah.
And then,
of course.
And then, you just walk past the real estate shops and you look at the ads and whatnot. And I was kind of looking to buy a block of land. Maybe, there's those little blocks in Officer at the time, like those developments were happening. So anyway, I think my partner at the time walked into the real estate shop, and it wasn't actually advertised, but there was this half-acre block in Cockatoo, and she started talking to the agent, came out and said, hey, there's this block in Cockatoo. Let's go check it out. So
you've gone from a trip to the bakery to now looking at a block of land.
Genuinely, that is
somehow how it starts.
that is how it went. And then I went out to this block, and it was 135,000 for this half-acre block in Cockatoo, and it was awesome, because it was the same price you could buy a 400 square block in, or 300 squares, whatever they are, in Officer. And I was like, I can get a half acre up here, and it's beautiful, and I'm 20 minutes up the road. I was like, and I got freedom to kind of build what I want. You know what I mean? It's when you buy a block up there, you're kind of free to do whatever you want. You buy a block in suburbia, you got to kind of, it's got to be
building restrictions.
Yeah, you got building restrictions, and it's got to be
design guidelines.
Yeah. Whereas up there, I mean, you got to do all the stuff with council, but you can kind of do what you want once you get it all through.
Yeah. And did the half acre, was it sloped or was it relatively
flat?
flat?
Yeah, it was pretty sloped.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I bought that when I was I think I was about 20 years old when I bought that, and then one of the first, because I did all my own consulting with council with that one too. And I didn't know what I was getting into. I just thought, you buy a block of land, you design a house, you build a house. That is not how it works.
Not that easy. Especially in the hills.
I found out real fast that, and it was a very frustrating process, because I was new to all of it,
And you had your tool belt ready to go. You just wanted to start building.
Genuinely, yeah.
From the day you bought it, you were just like, I'm ready to start building.
Yeah, I thought I'll just buy it. A month later, I'll start chipping away at it, and I'll just build it slowly, right? But yeah, no, that didn't happen. And so one of the first things you need to do is you need to get a bell rating, which is a bushfire attack level, and you kind of build to that. So there's different bell ratings depending on where you are, bell 12.5, 19, 29, 40, flame zone. So the guy, I got the number for my architect, Bo, from my boss at the time, because I was a third or fourth year apprentice. And he came out to do the bell rating, and he was also an architect. And he was like, "Oh, have you got someone to design the house?" And I was like, "No, I haven't actually."
Yeah.
So he was like, "I can design your house." I think he was kind of starting off then as well.
Yeah.
He was like, "I can design your house for you," and I was like, "Oh, sweet, perfect." So he quoted it up, and then he at the same time I started watching Grand Designs and getting all, inspired, you could say.
Yeah.
And then we just started designing this house, and he did all the design and the working drawings and all that kind of stuff. And I did all the stuff through council. It took about 18 months, I think, from the moment we started designing the house to the moment I could start building. And then,
So what did you learn the most along that process? Looking back at it now, obviously you've gone and done plenty beyond there. But when you're in the thick of that, trying to work out how you piece an 18-month process together to get a house out of the ground, what did you learn the most out of that process?
to pay a consultant to do it all for you. Just everything. Like you're learning everything, how they work, the stages, like working drawings, engineering, energy rating, the whole process of how everything needs to be done. So there's no school I went to learn all that. I just kind of learned it as I went. And I suppose that's why it took 18 months. I mean, now we just did Neville Street, took us 2 years to get through. So go figure that. And I had consultants doing that one.
Yeah.
Councils are just getting worse. That's a topic for another day. But yeah, so we designed the house, and then it was kind of good because it took so long. Like I bought the block of land, and then I probably sat on it for like 6 months before I decided what I was going to do with it. Well, I always knew I was going to build, but before I started getting the design done, then I kind of had a little bit of money ready to go to start building straight away, but because it was delayed 18 months, it gave me time to save up for the build, and then I started building it, and I remember I still remember getting the plan. I'd actually never seen working drawings or engineering because my first 3 years were in commercial fit outs, and I was an apprentice. So I was like, just go do this, that, just install that door over there. And then when I did the pergolas and decking, it's like we had plans, but I never looked at them and built it from scratch.
Yeah.
So I was just there doing it with another guy above me. And then doing the bathroom reno, same thing. Like you're just walking into a shower, you're ripping it out, and you're just redoing it, right? So yeah, I got these plans, the working drawings and the engineering and all that, and I'm looking at it, trying to decipher it. Like it's not a step by step. Step one, do this. Step two, do this. Step three, do this. It's just like this is the finished plan, and then you got to work out how you're going to do it. And then honestly, I just looked at it. I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like this is a big. It kind of started as just building a house, and then when it was actually broken down on plans, I was like, wow, there's a lot more to building this than
the steps involved.
There's a lot involved. So I just started from the ground up, I suppose. We dug the footings, we had the footings inspected, we did the stumps, we did the subframe, and then just took it step by step, and it was all new. It was all new to me. And back then, I was literally just doing everything on my own. Like I was just a one-man show. Like I think my old man came out and helped me do the stumps, and then I did all the bearers, joists, laid all the yellow tongue. I think I had like a mate that would come and help me on a weekend to sort of lift the yellow tongue sheets around, and then that was the first house frame. That was the first subframe I ever did. That was the first house frame I'd ever built.
And you were still an apprentice at this point in time? This is what you're doing outside of that, or?
So this is about a year and a half after my apprenticeship.
Yep.
So finished my apprenticeship, subcontracted for about a year and a half, and then got the green light on my house, and then I just stopped working completely and 100% focused on the house.
Yeah, cool.
It was a sink or swim moment.
Yeah, 100%.
And I started building it, and I got obsessed. Like I loved it, and that was all I did for like whatever it was, 9 months, 12 months. I just worked sunrise to sundown. Like I remember it would be like 32-degree days. I'd just be doing like a 14-hour day, just smash, like up at the dawn and like still working in the dark, just plugging away. And like I learned my limits there. I remember the back wall of that house, I framed up the whole wall, and then I tried to lift it up on my own because I was one man, and then I dropped it, and it all was like kind of blew up to pieces. I nailed it all back together.
Yeah,
yelled
yeah.
out to my neighbour, "Hey man, can you come and help me lift this wall up?"
Yeah.
And my neighbour jumps the fence, comes over, we lift the wall up, and then yeah, like the roof beams, they were like 10-metre roof beams, and they got delivered, and I was literally on my own, and I dragged them up onto the subframe. Had a genie lift, like the handheld genie lifts.
Yeah.
Lifted it up, put my scaffold around on one side, nailed it off. Put scaffold around the other side, nailed it off. And then so built that house, finished it, and then I never intended on selling that actually. I was just building it to live in, and then one day a real estate agent, Katie, knocked. She was at my gate and she's just yelling out, and I'm like, "Hey," I was home at the time, and went down and had a chat to her, and she was like, "Would you be interested in selling your house?" And I was like, I don't know.
Who doesn't love an agent at the front of their house asking, would you sell it?
Yeah, and I was like, "Well, what do you think you'd be able to get for it?" Because I thought, it's in my head, I thought it'd be worth around $750. Like houses across the road were going for $300,000 at that time, so I thought, $750,000, something like that.
And what year would this be? This would have been 20...
Well, I got my I finished it around 2017, so it would have been 2017 sometime.
Okay. Yep.
That I sold that.
Yep.
And then she said, "I'll get you. I reckon I'll be able to get $900,000 for this house." And I was like, "Oh, if you can do that, then I'll sell it."
Yep.
And I think she actually took on all the marketing costs at that point. I'm like, "Will it cost me anything to sell it?" And she's like, "No, that's back when you could get photos. I don't know how much they were back then, but it was just photos and then the real estate ad."
Yep.
And then so that went live, and then 2 weeks in, we had I think 3 or 4 offers on the property, and
Wow.
it ended up selling. I think we had it listed. It was listed around 900,000. Might have been 890 to 920 or something, and it ended up selling for 950.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, "This is great. Like,
Yeah.
awesome. This is
So you're 200,000 more than what you thought it was worth.
yeah."
It's sold in 2 weeks, and you've had 3 or 4 offers.
Yeah.
Well, this is obviously that would have. This how good's this?
Yeah, it was like a bit of a light bulb moment. It was like, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I went and bought an acre in Pakenham, Ryan Road, Pakenham. It was 5,000 square metres, an acre and a quarter. And then I built that house once again on my own, like sort of built it all slowly on my own. And then got to the point with that one, because that was such a big house. Like that was it was big. It was over 50 squares, that build. And I got to a point where I actually ran out of money, and then I went to the bank and thought, they'll give me money because I got plenty of capital. But my capital had been created through selling my primary residence, which was obviously tax exempt. So on paper, I hadn't actually made much money, so the bank wouldn't give me any money. So then I had to go back to work.
Yep.
So I sort of started fishing around for work, and there was someone doing a new build in Brunswick, and they needed someone to come and build it, like a couple of carpenters to frame it up, get it to lock up pretty much. They had the slab down. So me and my mate came and worked for me, started his apprenticeship, and we went and built that. And then as we were going with that, we put on a couple of other guys, or I put on a couple of other guys, and then work just started flowing from there. I think when people could see what I was doing, people just started reaching out, wanting renovations done, new builds, whatnot. So then, built the Pakenham house, and then, finished that, and then X amount of months or years later, I decided I wanted to sell that and do another one. And that was right at the point that COVID happened, actually, that I put that house in the market, like right when COVID, just when it started, and everyone was like freaking out. And we listed it like, it would have been like Friday night, and 10 a.m. Saturday morning that was sold at top of asking. It was like a dream.
Wow.
It was like Mark, the purchaser, he'd been looking for a long time. You know when you have that buyer that's just been looking for a long time, and then it's exactly what they want, they fall in love with it.
Yeah.
We didn't even have an open inspection. It was just sold. Bang.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He came and inspected it privately. As soon as it was listed, he reached out straight away, came and inspected privately, bought it like the next day.
Wow.
And I was
so
like,
you mentioned him before, so obviously you know him by name, and that's sort of something that we've noticed, that quite a lot of the clients that have bought properties off you that you've built, you seem to have quite a good relationship with them, and it's not just you build the house and you sell it and you never speak to anyone again. Like, we've actually spoken to people that have bought houses off you that you still keep in touch with and still speak with, which I think for a builder is pretty special. It's very different.
Yeah, well, It's funny because a lot of the work kind of stems back. The work I get now kind of stems back to those houses I built. So it'll be like a friend or a sister or a daughter of someone that bought my house that I'm now doing like the renovation we're doing in Brunswick at the moment is the daughter of the lady that bought my first house. You know what I mean? So it's that's kind of where it all stems from. You know what I mean? Like people see what you can do and they go to the house and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. Who built this? Oh, we'll get them to come to our renovation or our new build, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I always meet the people that buy my houses. Like, it's good to meet them and make sure they're happy. You know, there's always that door that needs to be adjusted or whatever. I'm always happy to come and do that and see it. And especially those first two houses, like, I built them with my own hands. Like, so I was I was somewhat attached to them.
Yeah.
As you would be, though. I mean, you're in that, as you said, you're dropping frames because you're trying to carry them yourself and you're getting your neighbour to help and you're doing all those things that, you know, now obviously you've got a slightly different business model that, you know, allows you to be across it but not necessarily carrying frames on your own. But being in that position, of course, it's your baby. You know, you've gone and built this thing and that's where you've lived and seen that process from start to finish.
And everyone always says, like, how do you sell this? Like, how do you sell them, you know? But they always get better. So it's just going to get better and better and better. And that's the exciting thing about it. Like, I'm only 32 and look at the houses we're building now. Imagine what I'm going to be doing in 10 years' time.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
It's like that. Very exciting to see.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And that sort of stems into how did Sanco Build come about? When did you start the company? Why did you start the company? Had you already started it when you were building the Pakenham one, or when did that sort of happen?
Yeah, so Sanco Build kind of started... It was like Sanco Build... I don't know if I was working under Sanco Build as a subcontractor, but it started kind of when I started that Brunswick build after Pakenham. That was kind of the real start. Me and my pretty much my best mate at the time... we went and built that, and that was the start of Sanco Build. And then I hired a couple more people, and then from there we just kept working. So after that Brunswick job, Sanco Build kind of started. We started doing the renovations and everything, and then back to Pakenham, and then selling Pakenham during COVID. So I sold Pakenham at the start of COVID, right? And then that's when the market was like, what's happening? There was like that moment of what's going to happen here. And then 60 Minutes released that. Do you remember
claiming like 40% drop.
40%, the market's going to drop 40%. And I was like, perfect. I've just sold my house for the top of asking and the market's going to drop 40%. I'm going to buy the dip and I'm going to kill it, you know? And then I went
Thanks to 60 Minutes.
Literally, this was my thought process, right? And then... and we were doing a new build in Hyatt at the time, actually, for the guy who I did the bathroom renos with. He wanted to build a new house and got us to do all the carpentry. And I remember going to work and telling the boys, because we had no more work coming up, because everyone put a pause on everything because no one knew everyone was scared, you know what it was like. Yeah. And I was like, boys, I don't know what's going to happen when we finish this job in 3 weeks or whatever, because I've got no other work coming up. And my idea was I was going to buy another block of land and build a house. And I was like, nah, probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, I told them all that and everyone was like, all right, cool. You know, a week later, I went out and started buying land. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm just going to sit around and not work. And then, you know, I at that point, I'd had guys that had been with me for a year or two and I'd been teaching them and I didn't really want to lose them. So I was like, I need to keep work in front of them. Yeah. So I actually went out and bought 3 blocks. I bought Alexander, Mimosa, and my 14-acre block that I've got up in Emerald at the moment. And then during COVID, you were allowed to have like 5 people on site at a time. And I had 5 guys working for me at the time. And then during COVID, we built Alexander. So I bought that block that already had a permit to build a house on it, which makes it a lot easier to so if you buy a block that has a house with a planning permit, it's a lot quicker than buying a block that doesn't have a house with a planning permit, because you can simply just, if you stay within that building envelope and keep the access and all that kind of stuff, then it's a pretty clean swap. Like I think we got Alexander through in like 2 or 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So when Hyatt finished, we might have had a little bit of work to do somewhere else, and then we jumped straight onto Alexander, and then we built that in COVID, and we built that in it was like 5 months, I think we just smashed it because there was nothing else to do. So we were just working 10-hour days, 5 days a week. Yeah, I don't think we were working. We might have worked a few Saturdays. I don't know. Probably.
You would have.
Yeah.
Saturdays,
I was going to say, you would have been there 7 days. You got nothing else to do. It's COVID.
Literally,
where else do you go?
Yeah, probably was. And then so built that one and then built Mimosa and that's it.
So you went on to sell Alexandra.
Yeah.
So you've sold that. You've built Mimosa, which for anyone who hasn't seen Mimosa is, I mean, all your houses are pretty special, but Mimosa's obviously been your biggest build to date. And what's gone into that property is, phenomenal. We went up there, just before Christmas. So you've sold Alexandra, you've got Mimosa. We've been a part of Neville recently, Neville Street in Cockatoo. Talk us through Mimosa and I guess your journey through real estate of you buy the land, you build the house and you sell it for really good prices. How did you find Mimosa and how did that run us through that process?
Yeah, well, when we went to sell Mimosa, so yeah, obviously we went to sell Mimosa, what was it, about 2.5 years ago? I think we might have started that campaign. And that was kind of when the market started sort of diving. So I sort of started selling it at the top and then the market just got worse and worse and worse. And then that's when the interest rates were coming up. And yeah, well, I suppose
And you've gone through a process where throughout COVID, the value of real estate has increased. The cost of construction was increasing rapidly. So you're building a house throughout a time and then you're going to sell a house during a time where interest rates are increasing, the market confidence is dipping, but the cost of what it's for you to create that home in the first place was still at a certain level, right?
Yeah. So I was building Mimosa during that time that the price was just going like it was just skyrocketing. Luckily for me, because I have in-house carpenters, we were obviously able to contain a lot of that by doing a lot of the work ourselves. But yeah, it was crazy times. I would not have wanted to be a builder that heavily relied on subcontractors because prices would doubling on something. You get someone to come out and do a quote and they were just 20 grand, 10 grand for the same thing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
If the guys are really busy, then they were just putting their prices up because they were so in demand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we built that and yeah, listed it at not the best time. So, but I build all my houses as if they're going to be my forever house. So I'm very happy to be living there, and it's been enjoyable living there. I love it. It's a great place to live. And that house is the first house that I really went all out on as well. I wasn't I can't spend that on that. I can't spend that on that. Everything in that house was the best of the best. It's all solid timber cabinetry. It's all marble in the bathrooms. Yep. The house is C-bus. It's got all the ambient lighting. It's very enjoyable living there. I enjoy living there. But yeah, it was kind of frustrating because we had a lot of people that were interested. I think we had 3 serious buyers that actually went to the bank and then kind of got to the bank and then they couldn't loan the money, So it was a little bit disheartening. But then, I'll just pull the pin on it and I'll wait for the market to pick up and I'll relist it. And because my whole thing of I've got my price of what it's worth, and that's the way I come up with that is you buy the block of land. How much would it cost me to recreate this? If I was to buy the block of land and do the build, this is what it would cost me. So there's no point selling it for under that because I'm just going to be buying a block of land and building a house, and then I'm not actually getting anywhere. Yeah. And that's kind of where the market is at the moment. The numbers don't make sense anywhere. You can't. I've tried it out up in the hills. I've tried it in Berwick. I've tried it in inner city suburbs. I've tried it in the peninsula. Yep. And you might turn a 10% profit if you're lucky. If the market doesn't do anything, if it stays as it is. But at that, it's not worth doing because you could put your money in the bank and make 5.5% on a term deposit. Yep. So why are you going to risk? And then you got to think about the interest you're paying on that loan during the build as well. So if your loan's at 6.5%, 7% during the build, and that's going to take minimum 12 months by the time you, realistically anywhere from 14 months to 24 months by the time you've gone full term on it. like you have to be making at least a 15% return to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, and we're noticing across the board those numbers in general just aren't stacking up. So yeah, replacement value, and then what we're actually achieving at market interest is actually coming in under replacement value. So, and I think over the last couple of years, that's since COVID, that's just purely been due to an increase in building costs and probably labour costs as well, where that was where your little bit of buffer was, but now those building costs and everything have gone up. That just takes away, the profit that you originally had. So
well, yeah, building's gone up 35% since COVID, and real estate kind of went up as well, but then it came down. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So now there's like this big disconnect.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And yeah, it's like wages aren't going to go down, materials aren't going to go down, so house prices need to come up. I don't see how house prices can go down any more than what they are now, because if they do, there's just going to be such a big disconnect. Like if someone like me can't develop and make money right now, like I'm the carpenter, I have the carpenters in house, I'm the builder, so there's no margin on the carpenter, there's no margin on the building, and I can't make money doing it, then how can any developer make money doing it? Because they've got to pay the builder with his margin, and the builder's got to pay the carpenter with his margin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's interesting.
It's a very interesting game at the moment. And I think even just your average person who's looking to go and buy a block of land and build a house, they're even finding the disconnect between what that's costing them to buy the land and build the house to then what that house is then worth. And that's also something that people are, considering at the moment. Having gone through the process of, I guess, doing a few developments, and we were able to get set a benchmark in Cockatoo for Neville Street. What does the future hold for Sanco, and have you got any, I suppose, projects in the pipeline, or are you, what does the future look like for you and the team?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of work in the pipeline actually. I think we've probably got like 6 or 7 new builds that are kind of in the design phase now, and some renovations.
Yeah,
awesome.
Like there's one in Gembrook that's already been 14 months in, and that will probably be 3 years. Because it's got all the overlays and whatnot. But we'll keep doing client work, to keep doing builds, and I will start developing again once the market picks up again and the numbers start making sense. We will start building again.
Awesome.
But until then, we'll just primarily focus on our client work, which we are getting really good work now, and that is one of the things that has come from, like, people see the Neville Street. So if we talk about Neville Street and the campaign, like, that's been good in so many ways, because so many people have seen that, and then they look at the build, they go, oh, we saw that house you built in Neville Street, and we want you to come do the renovation at our house, or we want you to do the build at our house.
Yeah.
It's a twofold. You're getting to build a product, which is then helping you sell more, showcase your work more, and then also you get the returns of going through the development process. I mean, you were saying the other day, you guys have picked up a job in Portsea, as well. You're doing a big renovation there, so your style of work is also very suited to your, as Jack said before, being very particular and making sure everything is a very, very high standard. People see that with your level of work.
And then you start getting those kind of jobs where people expect that high level of detail. And that's the kind of stuff we want to be doing as well. Like I've never liked volume home building. It's just boring. Like, I don't know. I just find it boring. Like there's no money in it to take your time and perfect things, and there's no detail. It's just like, it's volume home building, right?
Yeah.
I never liked volume home building.
I suppose
I never wanted to be in that sector. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very much a franchise model versus a boutique, tailored approach. That's the equivalent to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, definitely. Yep. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on board, and we're super keen to see what else you can produce and some more builds that'll start coming. So, and also look out for Mimosa in the future at some point. I'm sure you'll look to sell that. So, but it's been a pleasure having you on board, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Good to join us.
Thanks, guys.